Awesome. Great. So, hi everyone. Hope you're all doing well. I'm so excited to be joining the Spitfire Inbound team today to talk about how you can use your website to grow your business. But first, just a quick introduction. My name is Alex. I'm on the product marketing team here at HubSpot, as Trevor said. I've worked at HubSpot for the past 4 years now, 3 of which have been on the product marketing team. And for the past year or so, I've been dedicating my time solely to the CMS Hub and our content management system products. So very familiar with the website, very familiar with the web industry, really excited to talk with all of you about it today. If you'd like to connect with me after this, by all means do so. You have my LinkedIn right there. And I believe Sharon will be sharing around the slides afterwards, so you can grab my LinkedIn URL from that. So last night, I was staying up really late, pacing my room, prepping my talk, as you do before you do a big presentation, and I stumbled across one of these in my room. Now, I'm sure many of you know what these are. It's a CD-ROM, and back in the 90s, they were the preferred way of delivering software. It's how people packaged and delivered software to their customers. This is kind of the process they went through to do that. And so you would build a piece of software, you package it up, you put it on a store shelf, and then you go and you would drive to the store, pick up that software, and then you would take it home, put it onto your machine, and then run it for 2 years at a time. And you wouldn't have any updates to that software. You wouldn't see any new changes to it. You would just run it for 2 years. And then after 2 years' time, a new version would come out, and you would repeat this process over and over again. By the late 90s, a bunch of different changes happened that kind of revolutionized how companies thought they could deliver software. The first one is technology. There was a shift in the technology. And so the internet improved, the ability to manage and host servers improved, and our trust in the technology and the cloud and the internet to run our software greatly improved. So the first shift was in technology. Second shift was in process. We became obsessed with data and customer feedback. And we used this data to run review cycles of how our products were doing and see how our customers responded to our products. And so the process through which we created software drastically shifted in the late 90s, early 2000s. Then finally, there was a culture shift. With the process and technology shift happening, there was a change in how businesses viewed how they could grow their business through software. There's a change in how they thought they could run, manage, and generate revenue through software. And the change that I'm referring to here is the SaaS revolution. It's happened in the late 90s, early 2000s, and it really changed how we did business. And it changed the landscape of business, really. There were some businesses, Google's a perfect example, that came to light in this SaaS revolution and just took off like a rocket ship. They were super successful because they were able to take advantage of these shifts in the software landscape and move towards SaaS. There were other companies like Microsoft that were able to pivot from the CD-ROM era to the SaaS era, and they were able to quickly and easily pivot so they continue to grow their business afterwards. And sadly, some companies didn't make it through the shift because they didn't take advantage of the shifts they noticed in the market. So if any of you are sitting there saying, Alex, what the hell are you talking about? Came here to learn about websites. Why are we talking about SaaS and software? I'm here to tell you today that the same shifts that we're seeing in the software industry in the late 90s is happening in the world of web design today. And it's happening because of those same 3 shifts that we were talking about. There's shifts in technology, in process, and in the culture around our websites. And if you're willing to take advantage of these shifts, you can truly start to leverage your website as something that can help you grow your business over time. So today I want to talk to you about these 3 shifts and how you can take advantage of them to start growing your business through your website. Let's start with the culture shift. I want to ask a quick question of the group, and feel free to pop in your answer in the chat. But why does your business have a website? Feel free to drop it in the chat. Generate leads. Be reachable, sure. Awesome. If some of you are struggling to answer this question, you're not alone. There's a lot of people that tell our stories, says Megan, that's awesome. If you're struggling to answer this question, you're not alone. And it's because in the traditional culture of web design, many people view their website as just a business expense. It's something that everyone has. You have to have it in order to do business. They don't really see it as an investment in their continued growth. These big companies that are trying to grow their business, they view their website as an additional tool in their pocket that they can use to grow their business. So it's a shift in how you view your website as just something that you have to have in order to have a brand online, be reachable for your customers, and it's a shift towards using that website to further grow your business. The second shift in culture is that many people are viewing their website as a digital brochure. You know, back in the 90s, again, we had all these brochures that explained what our companies did. And people today largely are using their websites in the same way. They have an About Us page that explains what their company does. And it just is basically brochureware. In the modern culture, we have a shift towards a product with wide impact. And I think this is a really important note to key in on it. If you learn anything today, you should treat your website with the same tenacity that you treat your products and services. So you should be collecting feedback on your website, looking at how you can iterate and improve your website, just like you would the products and services that you offer to your customers. And the third shift is that in the traditional culture, it's all based on assumptions, often from the executive level. Our executives say, I want this on the website, and so that's what we implement on our website. But in the modern culture, we really have shifted towards this data-driven approach, where we see what is working on the website, what do our customers tell us about the websites, what's working, and how can we iterate on that and improve upon it. And so it's time to reject this traditional culture around how we view our websites and pivot over towards a modern culture where we see our website as a growth investment and a product with wide impact that we can make data-driven decisions on to improve over time. So if you'd like to get started with this now, I have a couple of resources for you. One is to start installing behavior research tools on your website. If you've ever heard of hotjar.com or Lucky Orange, these are two awesome tools that you can use to start to collect feedback on how your site visitors are using your website. If you're a HubSpot customer, you can integrate them directly, and they both offer heat mapping tools, as well as session recording tools, so you can see exactly how your website visitors are interacting with your content. Another thing I want you to start doing is start thinking of your website as a product with wide impact, and start thinking about how else might your company leverage your website beyond just marketing to fuel your growth. Because your website should impact more than just the marketing team. Think about other business orgs within your business that the website can impact. It can impact sales, HR, finance, product. The list goes on. I think a lot of you might be familiar with this. This is the flywheel. This is how HubSpot thinks of the customer journey, how customers move from the attract stage over to engage when they're talking with sales, and then in delight when they're a customer and you're trying to get them to be a promoter for your brand. I think a lot of you, if you looked at your websites today, you probably would say that you use it in this stage. You use it to attract visitors and convert leads that your sales team can then go work. But really, if you take a wide approach to how you can leverage your website, you could really use your website across the entire flywheel. So you can use it as an educational center to educate people that are in your sales pipeline. You could use it to create sales enablement tools that are customer facing, so your sales reps and your prospects have the same information going forward in sales calls. In the delight stage, you could use it for new customer onboarding and customer dashboard. And these are just a few examples of how you can use your website across the entire customer journey. And so think how your website can be viewed as a product with wide impact to start fueling your growth. All right, so we just talked about the culture. Now I want to talk about the process behind websites. So in the traditional process, the process of building and redesigning a website, it's a very business-focused strategy. It's all about me. What do I want to see on the website? How does our website reflect our brand? In the modern process of redesigning and building websites, you really take a customer-focused strategy. Try to build empathy for your customers and see what problems do they have and how can our website help answer their questions and solve their problems potentially. So you're building your process, you're creating your strategy, and over time, it's time to start building your website. So I want to ask another question of the group. What emotions did you have in the last time you redesigned your website? What are some of the emotions that ran through your head? If you want to drop them in the chat, that'd be awesome. If you have excitement, awesome. Anger, frustration, totally. Anxiety, 100%. Awesome. Trauma, stress, frustration. We all see it. We all know these feelings. We actually ran a survey here at HubSpot to kind of get at the same thing. And we created a word map of the words that people came back with. You might see some familiar things here. Some things like frustration, excitement, satisfaction, redesign, all these typical things. I want to focus on just the main ones here though, because while a website redesign can be a really exciting time, it's often a really frustrating and overwhelming experience as well. And the reason behind that is because in the traditional process, we often treat it like it has to be this perfect product when it launches. And so these projects often go over budget and often are delivered late. So it can be a really frustrating experience to go in and redesign your website. So in the traditional process, it's this huge project that takes in insights from the entire organization, and you're really pressed to try to stay on budget, stay on time to deliver the product that you want. In the modern process, however, you create a Launchpad website. Now, a Launchpad website is something that looks and performs better than your current website, but is just a starting point that you can then go and iterate on once you've launched it. So you're not trying for perfection on launch. You're just trying to get a website out there that looks better and performs better than what you currently have, so you can start to collect feedback and iterate on it. So you launch the website. I'm sure some of you feel like this. You're excited. It's finally out there. And then what do you do? For a lot of marketers, 42% of marketers, according to a study that we ran, they only make impactful improvements to their website once every 1 to 2 years or so. And that's a long time to just let your website sit and stay stale. And so if you're looking at this, in the traditional process, a lot of marketers, they build their website and then they let it sit and they set it and forget it. That's it. And then it sits there for 1 to 2 years. And then eventually they realize that it's gone stale. It no longer reflects our brand. They're not happy with the website anymore. And so they kick off this long, arduous redesign process. So they go 6 months of redesign, might go over time, might go over budget, and they have this new website. And it's awesome. And then they let it sit and it does the same exact thing all over again. Some of you might be looking at this and say, I saw this slide before, and you're exactly right. It's the same exact slide that the software industry was stuck in the late 90s before they realized that SaaS was a better way to create and distribute their software. And so, while a traditional process sets their website as a set it and forget it project where you build the thing and then you launch it and you let it sit for 2 years, the modern process is focused on a continuous improvement of the website, starting with that launchpad and then using data to continuously improve and iterate on the website that you've launched. So it's time to reject this traditional process in favor of the modern process of taking a customer-focused strategy, using a launchpad website to get your website out there quickly and easily, and then continuously improving on that launchpad over time to reach the perfect product that you're looking for. And we've seen that as people take this approach, they're actually getting better results from their website because they're continuously improving on it over time instead of letting it stay stale and then only improving it once every 2 years or so. And this is only the starting point, because once you layer on marketing and sales onto that, you can really see the growth and impact of your website take effect, because your marketing team can use learnings from the website to influence their marketing campaigns. Your sales team can use information from the website to start to influence how they talk to prospects. So if you're interested in this, if any of this sounds interesting to you, we've created actually a methodology behind this at HubSpot that we have a bunch of courses on. It's called growth-driven design. We see that companies that adopt growth-driven design not only get to market faster with their websites, they're able to launch a new website quicker because they're focused on just that launchpad website and then improving on it over time. But they also see better results. They're able to generate more visitors, more leads, and more revenue for their business because they're adopting this quick, agile way of building websites. And so if you'd like to get started, I have some more resources for you. So I want to ask all of you to interview 10 customers that have just joined your business, 10 customers that have just come on, that have just started with your company, and also 10 customers that you recently lost. Now, these might be harder to get, but if you can, try to get 10 new customers and 10 customers that you recently lost. If you're looking for a framework on how to do that, I've linked one right there. And I want you to ask them, what brought you to my company, or why did you leave? And understanding this from your customer's perspective can help you understand what value do my customers see in my business, or what value am I not providing my customers today that my competitors are providing my customers. This can really influence the kind of content that you put on your website. I also think that it would be an awesome idea for you all to run your website through websitegrader.com if you haven't already. WebsiteGrader is a tool that HubSpot has had for a very long time. We just relaunched it, so it's brand spanking new. But it looks at your website and gives you tips on how you can improve it from a security, reliability, and speed perspective. So if there's anything that's wrong with your website in those 3 areas, it can be impacting how your website is performing across the board. So running your website through websitegrader.com can give you a sense of what might be wrong with my website today and what are the steps that I can take to quickly improve upon it. And then finally, I want you to take a look at your company's goals. What are your goals? Are you looking to improve awareness of your brand? Are you looking to generate more leads? And identify the 3 highest impact pages for those goals. And on those pages, start to ask for feedback. You can add pop-up feedback surveys to those pages through those tools that I mentioned earlier, like Hotjar and Lucky Orange. If you're using HubSpot, we have feedback tools within our Service Hub product. But you can start to ask people who visit your website, what brought you here today? What are you looking for on the website? And you can not only deliver that to them quicker, you can also start to think about, okay, if people are visiting my website looking for this sort of information, how can we start to include that in the website? And how can we add that to the next time we iterate and improve on the website? Another thing that you could do is on those 3 highest impactful pages, you can start running A/B tests. And I would encourage you to do so on the above the fold messaging. So what I mean by that is the content that's on the page that is before you start scrolling. So start A/B testing the messaging and seeing what might work better, what is driving further engagement on your page, what's causing people to scroll further on. These are all ways that you can start to take what you have today and iterate and improve on it based on customer feedback. All right. And if any of this is interesting to you, you really want to dive in deep, we do have a certification on how to do growth-driven design at growthdrivendesign.com, which could be of interest to some of you. All right. And the final shift that I want to talk to you all about today is the shift in technology. So for many of us, when we think about the tech that's supporting our websites, we're talking about a content management system, or CMS. And I want to start this talk by just saying this quote from Clay Shirky. He's a professor of economics at New York University and focuses largely on the tech sector. And he says that technology doesn't get truly interesting until it becomes almost invisible. And so what we mean by that is the more advanced that the tech becomes, the easier it becomes to manage over time. And these are the companies that are really finding success with their businesses. And we see experienced disruptors across industries doing this. They're beating out incumbents by creating extremely advanced products that are incredibly easy to manage. Think of Slack or Zoom. We are all using Zoom right now. And it's not difficult for us to manage. It just kind of fades into the background. It's this incredibly advanced piece of software that supports our day-to-day. It's almost invisible in how easy it is to use, but we all rely on it and we all love using it. So technology doesn't become truly interesting until it becomes invisible. But if this is the case, we've gotten our content management systems all wrong. Because the traditional CMS has really gotten this backwards. As your company grows, you have to layer on more and more functionality to get the level of sophistication that you want. So you have to layer on different plugins, file management tools, SEO tools, SSL to make sure that your site is secure. Over time, all those tools that you layer on just adds more difficulty to your CMS that you have to manage. You have to manage all of these tools that you're layering on just to get your website up and running. And so with the traditional CMS, you have a lot of maintenance that you have to go through, and it's really low security. As you layer on all those plugins, you have to make sure that all those plugins are working in concert with each other and nothing is fading out of favor. On the other hand, the modern CMSs have pivoted to SaaS. And so it's hosted in the cloud and it's all working without you having to manage any of those plugins. We host those plugins for you. We worry about that for you so you don't have to. The traditional CMS is also full of gatekeepers. A lot of times this is the developer. The marketer just wants to make a simple change to the website and all they want to do is, rearrange how their form looks on the page or whatever, and they have to go through their dev team to do that. But the dev team doesn't have time to prioritize a marketer's request in their 6-week sprint, and so they're unable to make those changes. On the flip side, though, a developer is trying to work on really growth projects, and the marketer is preventing them from doing their job correctly because the marketer is constantly badgering them to make simple edits to the website. So neither of them are able to do their best work in the traditional CMS. With a modern CMS, however, it really empowers your team to do their best work. So marketers have the tools they need to make simple edits to the website and make sure that the brand is on point, while developers can use the tools, technologies, and workflows that they prefer to get their work done and create flexible content systems that a marketer can work within so they're not being constantly badgered to make updates to the website. And the traditional CMS is often one size fits none. Because you're so focused on the maintenance of your product, making sure that it's secure, and you don't have the ability to make quick, easy changes because there's so many gatekeepers on who owns the content, you often create this one size fits none website that works and it's fine, but doesn't really provide that personalized, nuanced experience that many of your customers are probably looking for. A modern CMS, however, because it's SaaS, because it empowers your team to take ownership of the website, you really start to leverage different tools to create personalized experiences for your customers. You really start to expand the use case of your website and create interactive elements, membership-based content, things that will drive engagement on your website. And finally, with the traditional CMS, reporting is kind of an afterthought. We don't really know what the ROI of our website is with a traditional CMS. However, with a modern CMS, reporting is baked right in, so it's extremely easy to understand your ROI. Now, over at HubSpot, I think that we have created a CMS that enables you to do all of these things with the HubSpot CMS Hub. We launched it back in April, and it's a SaaS CMS that has tools for both marketers and developers so they can do their best work to provide their customers with personalized experiences, and then has all the reporting features that you need to really understand your ROI of your website. So let's dive in. All right, so I think, again, the true advantage of the CMS Hub is that it's powerful for both your marketers and your developers. So a marketer might want that simple web page builder that enables them to make quick, easy edits to the website. But if they want something more nuanced, something more engaging, they would probably need the help of a developer. But a developer can't really use those simple web page builders. So they often prefer a bulky enterprise legacy CMS. Now, this has all the bells and whistles for your developers, but it doesn't have any of the ease of use that a marketer is really looking for to do their job appropriately. So with CMS Hub, you really don't have to make trade-offs between these two things. You can have all the tools that your developer is looking for to make those nuanced tools that really drive growth in your website, while also giving marketers the power to make simple web page edits as they see fit. All right, so I want to give a quick rundown of some of the tech behind CMS Hub. So the first thing I want to talk about is maintenance and management without the migraines. So we are a SaaS CMS, and we make sure that your site is fast, secure, and reliable right out of the box. So you don't have to worry about those things. Instead, you can focus on managing your content and creating amazing experiences for your customers. And things like web application firewalls and SSL, things that you have to add on to a traditional CMS, it just comes right out of the box with HubSpot. Second is easily build and optimize your marketable website pages. And so this is all about empowering both your marketers and developers to do the work that they're looking to do within the CMS. And so we do this through flexible themes first and foremost. Themes are a content system that your developer can create that includes templates, modules, different stylings that then your marketer can take and really edit the website as they see fit. And so they can edit the look and feel of the website through a simple knob and dial system that you see here. And if they'd like to, they can also edit, skip the slide, they can also edit pages through a simple drag and drop interface. So they can take those modules that a developer has created for them and simply drag and drop them onto pages and rearrange entire pages as they see fit. So the developers created this flexible content system that the marketer can then take and use as they see fit and really take ownership of the website without being held back by the development team. Now, for the developers, we understand that developers want to leverage the tools and technologies and workflows that they prefer, not the ones that HubSpot prescribes for them. So with the CMS Hub, we've added local web development so devs can work in their own local environment to create the different websites that they're going to create within CMS Hub. And they can leverage tools like GitHub to handle version control and then publish content directly to HubSpot, all from their local development, local environment. Okay. The last one I want to talk about for CMS Hub Professional is the fact that it's an all-in-one tool to help you grow traffic and generate leads. So it's HubSpot, so it's based all on the HubSpot CRM. You get that included with CMS Hub. And then it, of course, includes tools like SEO recommendations. So you can see how your site is performing within organic search. It has live chat, bots, A/B testing, has a bunch of reporting such as contact attributions. You can see what content your contacts are interacting with before they convert into a lead. It has source analytics. So you can see whether social or paid advertising is driving the most traffic to your website. All the tools you need to report on your ROI and generate leads are included within the CMS Hub. So you don't have to go and add on all this functionality. It's just included out of the box. All right. We also added CMS Hub Enterprise back in April. So the first thing I want to talk about here is how CMS Hub Enterprise enables you to build powerful web app experiences on your website. We're seeing the lines between websites and web apps really start to blur in 2020. People are interacting with both websites and web apps in the same way, and your customers are expecting the ability to have these interactive experiences right on your website. And CMS Hub Enterprise features like serverless functions, CMS memberships, and a number of different APIs. You can really start to create those experiences for your customers. And so what do I mean? This is an example of a CMS app. This is a calculator that one of our customers, ClassPass, built on their website. And so with this calculator, they can calculate the amount of revenue that a business partner of theirs might make by signing on with ClassPass. And as you enter different inputs into the calculator, it automatically provides you with answers back. So there's no delay, there's no we'll deliver the results through email. They get everything directly on the website, so they can have that truly interactive experience with the the company directly on the website. And then another one, this is one that we created here at HubSpot. We open sourced it so any developer can start to build on top of it. This is an event registration app. So a customer can go in, they can find a specific class or a specific event that they want to sign up for, and they can sign up for it. And as they sign up for it, the amount of available spots within that event or that class will automatically update in the data table that's supporting this content. So you can start to create some really powerful apps for your customers. And you can even imagine that as someone signed up for this class, that they would be able to view the classes that they've signed up for, see what times those are at, and maybe even cancel a class if they needed to using memberships within CMS Hub Enterprise. All right, the next thing I want to talk about is gain governance and control at scale. As your team grows, you're gonna have more and more people working on your website. You wanna make sure that you have the tools necessary to make sure that people are able to do their best work. So in CMS Hub Enterprise, we have tools like content partitioning and user permissions to make sure that people have access to exactly the pages and content that they need to do their work appropriately. We also have activity logs. So if someone makes a change to your website, you can start to see exactly what that change was, who made that change, and when that change occurred. So you can start to make changes in a better way with your growing team of people. And then the last one I want to mention is just that CMS Hub Enterprise allows you to extend your brand. It's no doubt that as your company grows, you're going to have a need for more domains within your CMS, but you don't want to have to manage them in multiple systems. You don't want to have one website in one CMS, another website in another CMS, and then have difficulty reporting on one versus the other. With CMS Hub Enterprise, you get 2 domains right out of the box, so you can start to build multiple domains. A lot of companies are starting to use this to create a microsite. So this is a microsite that our customer Calm created. They're a meditation app. Calm built a microsite for the B2B arm of their business so that they could manage both their customer-facing website and their B2B arm of their business all within HubSpot. Really cool stuff. So today I walked you through the 3 shifts that we are seeing in the world of the web industry: the technology shift, the process shift, and the culture shift. And if you're able to take advantage of these shifts and embrace them, then you can start to grow your business through your website. And I also walked you through a couple of different tools that you have at your disposal to do that. So for the culture shift, you can work with Spitfire Inbound to get all that work. You can leverage growth-driven design to use a modern approach to building websites. And if you're interested, we have the CMS Hub, which is the tech that supports all this. So I'd like to thank you for joining me and Spitfire Inbound today. I've had a blast talking with all of you. If anyone has any questions, I'd be happy to answer them now.
Sorry, Trev, your mute's on.
Thanks, Alex. Thanks, Kevin. It was really, really good. I'm sure there are some questions, so feel free to put them in the chat pane, or if you'd like to ask Alex directly. There's a time slot now where we can make this completely interactive.
So just going into the chat, we have one from Ryan. Any ideas on building a marketplace e-commerce site onto your website?
Yeah, so I think obviously you need the tech that supports that. So you're going to need specific things. With CMS Hub, we have great integrations with Shopify as well as an e-commerce bridge. So you can build out something custom if you would like to with your HubSpot website. But it's really going to be all about the tech that supports that and also how your customers want to interact with your business. I'd really think, do customers want that touchless purchase experience for your product, or is it more of a nuanced product that really, you need to have that hand-holding of a sales team in order to do the sales? So I think it all depends on your business. But again, the same principles apply that we talked about here today. If you are building an e-commerce website, you're going to want to make sure that you're getting that up and then looking at how people are interacting with that website to then make changes according to it over time.
Any other questions for Alex? Alex, certainly from my side, I can vouch for how easy it is to make changes in the CMS. Actually, for this event, I went in 2 or 3 times into the page because we use the CMS for our website, and I changed some of the copy myself and moved some of the things around, and it really, really is a cinch. I'm certainly no developer, but having the ability to do that and not have to wait for someone else to do that really makes an enormous difference to how quickly you can respond.
Awesome, that's great to hear.
Sharon, I think we need to look at user permissions on our site to make sure that we lock Trevor out. You never know what he's going to
yes.
do. Alex, a question that we get asked often is why does HubSpot charge for a CMS when WordPress is free? I have my answer, but I'd like to hear yours.
Yeah, definitely. So, I mean, WordPress is open sourced, and so they're able to provide that offering as a free service because that's traditionally how they've always done it. Now, some people might say, why would I go with HubSpot when there's a free open source CMS out there? And the issue with that is that because it's free, you are on your own. You have to spin up the servers. You have to maintain your website at all times. You really have to suffer with that management of all the tools that you use to run your website that I mentioned earlier. So with HubSpot CMS Hub, we take care of all that for you. So if your website goes down, we are on that and we'll make sure that it gets right back up. You don't have to worry about maintaining all the different plugins and all the different things that you use to support your website because HubSpot has you covered on that. And so people might not think about the, the sticker cost of WordPress as being free, but then you have to layer on all these tools and functionality. I think the average WordPress website runs 30 to 50 plugins, and some of those plugins are going to cost you money. And so there's the sticker cost of the CMS, and then there's the hidden costs, I guess, behind it, which is either the plugins that you use to run it or the time that you're going to have to invest in order to manage that website and make sure that it's always up to date.
Thanks. And we have another question in the chat. Do the packages and rates include the hosting and server costs with the CMS?
Yeah, so that's a flat fee, the 300 for Pro and the 900 for Enterprise. There's no additional fees for amount of views that you get or anything like that. It's 300 for Pro, 900 for Enterprise.
And I think, from our side, knowing the CMS as well, I think that that's a great addition because, like you say, with an open source like WordPress, you still do have to pay for hosting. You still do have to pay for all the additional back costs. So the fact that it's all on one platform, from a marketer's perspective, makes it a lot easier to manage your websites in that sense as well. And then another one, how easy is it to migrate WordPress site across, and or is it a full rebuild?
Yeah, so we have a couple different options available to you. One, we have an awesome partner community like the people at Spitfire Inbound that can help you bring your website over into HubSpot if you would like to do that. We also have a migrations team that if you want to bring your website over from WordPress to HubSpot, like pixel for pixel, we can do that for you with our migrations team. And then if you're using HubSpot for your website and then you're using WordPress for your blog, maybe, we do have a blog import tool that will allow you to take your WordPress blog and fully bring it into HubSpot with just a couple clicks of a button. So there's none of that migration hassle. There's none of the manual copying and pasting. We have services to help you do all of that.
So Alex, one of the things that we've encountered is questions around security. I got a notification last night that there was a WordPress plugin that was hacked by some malware, 700,000 sites affected globally. How does HubSpot guard against that?
Yeah, so I think the thing about HubSpot is that we do have an ecosystem around our CMS, and we do have a bunch of integrations that you can put into the CMS. But whereas WordPress is an open source and anyone can create a plugin, there's hundreds of thousands of plugins for WordPress. With HubSpot, our ecosystem is a little more closed off. And so we manage all the integrations that we have with the CMS and make sure that they're constantly up to date and they're protected from anyone that might be trying to hack them. Whereas WordPress, there's no one that's monitoring these open source plugins that are being created. So you can integrate a bunch of different tools with CMS Hub. You just have the peace of mind that someone is on the back end making sure that everything is up to date and nothing is going to potentially take your site down when you integrate it with CMS Hub.
And I mean, from like our side as well, working on the, I work on the Spitfire CMS all the time. And what's really great is that 24-hour support that HubSpot has, whether it's a chat or an email, they answer their emails within 24 hours and the chat is instant. And there's always someone there that can answer your questions and sort something out for you, which is great. It allows for that peace of mind that your website's not going to just go down for no reason. Great. Trev?
Alex, from a hosting point of view, if clients move onto the CMS, where is that hosted?
So we have a globally hosted CDN with multiple geographic footprints. So it's hosted around the world and it's hosted with us. So we take care of managing all those servers, managing everything. You don't have to really worry about that. And it's across multiple geographic footprints across the globe.
And in terms of data storage and, the space for your website, like does HubSpot have a capacity or how are our data storage sorted?
No. So it's unlimited storage. So we're not going to charge you for storage or anything like that. We have our own file manager where you can host all of your website assets, all of your videos, all of your images, everything like that. You can host it directly within HubSpot and you get the same security and support for those files that you do with everything else about your website.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Alex, from a growth-driven design point of view, those monthly improvements, the iterations around that, you have some advice around the process that people should go through in terms of deciding on those and prioritizing them?
So, I mean, one, I think if you want to really dive deep into GDD, I would highly recommend taking that certification that I pointed you towards earlier in the presentation. But I think if you're trying to prioritize, like, what can you iterate on, the easiest thing to do is see where is traffic being driven on your website and see what are the most visited pages, where are people going first when they visit the website, and what are those high impact pages that we can then take and start to run tests on. And if we see, traffic dip because we ran a test, then we know, okay, the previous iteration was working better. So I think it's all about just prioritizing based on what you're seeing from your customers, what you're seeing from the traffic being driven to your website, and then making changes accordingly through that.
Right. Okay, any other questions? We still have a little bit of time. So anything to do with the methodology or the technology that Alex explained?
So we've got another question. Could you explain the adaptive testing?
Yeah, definitely. So we have A/B testing and adaptive testing within CMS Hub. A/B testing is available at Pro, and then adaptive testing is within our enterprise product. A/B testing, I'm sure many of you are familiar with. You can run version A versus version B and see how they perform against each other. So you might want to change out the image on a page or the tagline on a page, and you can compare them to each other to see which performs better and then choose a winner at the end. With adaptive testing, we leverage machine learning to compare up to 5 different versions of a page against each other. And you can see how the traffic and the activity and the performance of your page is trending over time. And the cool thing I think about adaptive testing is that it continuously runs and it continuously serves up the best version of your pages to whoever's visiting your site. So you never have to choose a winner or anything like that. It will just constantly serve up what this model thinks is the best version of the page for who is visiting the website and what they think is going to have the best impact for the visitor.
And then just one more question for me, Alex, on the reporting side of things. I mean, I know that you know, within HubSpot, there's quite extensive reporting. Are there any reporting that is very specific to the CMS that you get with the tool?
So there is a lot of reporting that's, I guess, cross-functional on Marketing Hub and CMS Hub and Sales Hub and the HubSpot platform in general. Something we added that's net new with the CMS Hub, although you do get it in Marketing Hub as well, is contact attribution reporting. So you can see what content people are interacting with as they go from just a visitor to your website to a contact within HubSpot. So that's really exciting. When you buy CMS Hub, you're going to get specific reporting on your blogs and your website pages that you wouldn't get with the Marketing Hub. But for the most part, the reporting is kind of platform-wide, if you will.
I think to follow up on that, Sharon, I think one of the questions we often get asked and we work through with clients is around what are the key metrics that you should be measuring on your website to show that it's delivering leads for your business?
Yeah, and I think it goes back again to goal setting, and that's going to differ from business to business. And so if you have a goal right now of building up awareness, your goal is going to be very different than someone who's looking to drive sales off their website. And so if it's awareness, it's probably going to be just like, hey, we want to improve page views month over month. If you're trying to really generate business off the website, it's probably going to be looking at demos booked with your sales team from the website. So it's hard to kind of pinpoint one specific metric that you should be looking at because it's all, I guess, dependent on your goals as a business.
And I think that's what I love with HubSpot CMS with integrated reporting across the hubs, is that you're able to personalize that reporting experience and completely fine-tune into the specific metrics based on the goals and objectives of your website and your current campaigns.
Yeah, really well said.
Yeah.
We've got an additional question here. Is there a way, or will there be a way to build lead funnels within workflows, sequences, etc.?
So before I answer this, I would like to give a caveat that it's been a minute since I've worked on our workflows tool. So I would like to know a bit more what you mean by lead funnels. But our workflows tool, it allows you to create automation for your contacts and your companies within HubSpot. And so you can do things like create an email nurturing sequence, or you can reassign contacts to specific reps as they move through their contact lifecycle. So there's a bunch of different things you can do with workflows. I would just hate to speak out of turn since it's not necessarily a core feature of the CMS Hub, and I don't know it as well as the features within the CMS Hub.
Alex, is it a feature that comes, so if you only have CMS Hub, is it a feature that does come with the CMS?
So not today. So workflows is going to be within Marketing Hub, Sales Hub, or Service Hub Professional, and then Sequences is a Sales Hub feature.
So I think the short answer is that yes, you can do that if you're using CMS Hub with Marketing Hub Pro.
Right. And a lot of our customers leverage the two together. We're seeing a lot of people buy Marketing Hub and CMS Hub together because you kind of get that compounding effect of using your marketing automation platform along with your CMS and your CRM if you leverage the HubSpot CRM as well.
I think that's an interesting point. Going back to what we said earlier about some of the open source CMSs, the integration between the CMS Hub and the underlying CRM in HubSpot, for me, is tremendously powerful, because you can see the whole customer journey from start to finish, and any further interaction and engagement that happens with a contact in the database is, you know, clearly defined in the process.
Yeah.
Do you want to explain that in a bit more detail, Alex?
Yeah, definitely. So the CRM is really the core of everything at HubSpot. And so your CRM is going to drive your marketing efforts. It's going to drive your website. There's a lot of nuanced things that you can do by leveraging CRM data on your website specifically. One of my favorite examples of this is leveraging memberships, which is a feature that I briefly touched on in CMS Hub Enterprise. But with CMS Hub Enterprise, you can create membership-driven content that essentially lets you create logins for all the visitors to your website based on lists within the CRM. And so you could create a loyalty program where your most loyal customers have access to specific content on the website that no one else does, and they can log in and view that content through memberships. And then as your customers interact with your content, you can start to view all of that within the content timeline. So if you have a customer that you've been working for a couple months and you realize they're moving through the sales pipeline, before you get on that call with that customer, you can look at their timeline and see exactly which pages they viewed and see, oh, they're interested in XYZ. I can frame the sales conversation that I'm about to have using this information that I know about my customers. So I think having the CRM with your website allows you to get more insight into your customers, and also it helps you do that iteration on your content because you have your customer data right in the same place that you have your CMS.
Right. Any more questions before we close the session?
No, Jeff, I think we're good. That was great. Thank you, Alex.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I had a really fun time. This is great.
Thank you, Alex. And for everyone who has been on the call, the recording will be shared, and those additional resources are in the slide deck. So like Alex said, use them no matter what platform you're using. They really do help from a website point of view.